All right, so I have made a fair amount of videos on this very, very cool palm, Dipsis lutescens, the golden cane palm from Madagascar. And the thing is, or the thing is that all of my videos I made in the tropics because they look so good, and everybody wants to know if you can grow them in Southern California. And I always say, well, you can grow them in Southern California. They'll never look as good as they do in Hawaii or Florida. You can definitely do it. And it's a pretty cool plant because you can make a hedge out of it. And well, guess where I am right now? I'm in Southern California. I'm in the hills of San Diego in Oceanside, California. And here I am at an entrance to a beautiful driveway. This guy's got a really steep driveway. He did it really well. It's really nice concrete work. I don't know who lives here, but I'm doing my plant stocking, typical plant stocking. He's got a whole bunch of king palms. They look really nice. Everybody knows that king palms do great in Southern California. And he's got a little orchard of trees down there. For whatever reason, look, even king palms sometimes don't do well. See that? Let's see. There's one dying there, and there's one dead right there. That's that little white thing. That's a dead king palm. So, for whatever reason, king palms can die here. But then they can also do fantastic. But the question, what we're talking about today, is if Dipsis lutescens is a good palm for Southern California. I'm going to say it's really good. Because look, here's the deal. When somebody says, here's the deal, you need to listen. Something important's coming. The reason I say it never looks as good here as it does in the tropics is that you do get a little bit of this. A little bit of this. See this? Just a little bit of browning, a little dry tipping. We're coming out of winter right now. And this is as bad as it looks. So you can see it's got little dry tips up there. That does not happen in Florida or Hawaii. They look perfect there. But the newer fronds coming out will look good enough. And like I said, we're coming out of winter. This is all foliage that just sat here all winter long. And we're going to get a lot of growth during the season. The best time for these plants is going to be right at the end of fall. Probably November 30th. These things will look really good. I should come back and make another video on this very same tree. So I guarantee you it'll look a lot better than it does now. So this is the worst it'll look. I think it looks good enough. And the reason is look at the trunks on these things. They're so pretty. Look, it's like, there's my hand. You can see how big it is. They're just this beautiful lime green. They get that golden color. See that golden color? Golden cane palm. And you can even grow these up in Northern California. I think in places like San Jose and Fremont, where you've got a really good climate. You could probably grow this just as well there. They're somewhat cold hardy, down to probably at least 28 degrees. But again, you can use them as a hedge. You can use them as a single multi. There's really no other plant like this that you can grow here that'll give you this effect. I mean, a pygmy palm, sort of, if you plant a bunch of them together. A Phoenix reclinata, yeah, but it's got a whole bunch of thorns. So does a pygmy. This has no thorns whatsoever. Look, what a great feature, right? And so I think if you have a real protected space where there's not a lot of hardcore wind, you're not near the beach would just obliterate this. If you think it looks bad here, plant it at the beachhead, even in Southern California, where the winds are beating on it, then it'll look, just trust me, just don't do it. But if you live like in Anaheim or Beverly Hills, I want to see somebody in Beverly Hills. They have these big, giant ficus hedges in Beverly Hills for privacy. I want to see someone plant a whole hedge of these things, just like you would do in Hawaii or Florida. The big drug kingpins that have the big mansions down in South Florida, guys from Venezuela, Colombia, they know what they're doing there. And they just brought this whole idea back from their country because everybody does it throughout the tropics. They line their whole property with these things, and they have these big 30-foot tall paradise palm hedges. So take it from the advice of a drug kingpin or the Colombian cartel mafia. They know their plants, and so what they're doing is they're planting these things like crazy, and so should you. But anyway, I just wanted to show you like a good example of what to expect when you're expecting a golden cane palm to grow in your garden in California. And it's not going to be absolutely perfect. Spots, 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 dry tip, dry tip, dry tip. But overall, I think it's a gorgeous plant. The farther you step back, the better it looks. People say that about me. I don't know why. Here's another one over here. It's a little bit younger. Now this one kind of has the disadvantage of having too many babies in one pot to start with. See all this? They just kind of outcompete each other. This is a plant that had way too many plants in the container. What you want with these things, and we're going to start growing them this way. I'll have them available for Southern California purchases, and anybody who wants to fool around in Northern California with it. I'm all for people fooling around, especially with palms. The thing you want to do is plant one plant per container, and it gets much more vigorous, and you end up with this really nice multi-trunking effect. It's hard to say if this is one plant, or because they will multiply. They'll have multiple stems from one plant, so you don't need to plant a whole bunch of them in one container. You'll see that the interior plant people think you do. And a lot of times people buy these from interior plant places that get too big for their house, and they plant them outside, and it's just kind of a big mess, truthfully. And I think they just are more vigorous if you just plant one per container. You get much more trunk development and a bigger, happier plant because there's less competition. And but yeah, I mean, where else are you going to get this kind of coloration on your trunk? Look at that. Huh? You tell me. You tell me where you're going to get that from. I don't know where you can, because I want to know. If you can get somewhere else, I want to know. And that's pretty much the story on Areca lutescens, old name Dipsis lutescens, new name the golden cane palm from Madagascar, when you grow it in a nice benign climate in Southern California.